From epic fails to boneheaded moves, these athletes wish they could take it all back. Join us for 15 instant regret moments in sports that will have you wondering how these pros made it to the big leagues. Number 15. David Dunn. In European football, it's normal to try and dazzle the crowd with dynamic shots and passes. During a game against Sheffield Wednesday in 2003, David Dunn dared to show off a bit of his skills and talent. He deviated from the norm and tried his hand at a rabona, where a player kicks the ball with their non-dominant foot while crossing their dominant foot behind it. It's a difficult skill to execute and is often used to surprise opponents or add some flair to their gameplay. Unfortunately, he kicked his other leg and a tumble and a dive. His fumble has even garnered more than 800,000 views on YouTube. Dunn later gave a laugh at his performance, being a good sport and all. He's even inspired Wolves star Raul Jimenez to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, maybe a rabona wasn't the best choice.
Number 14. New Zealand All Blacks. In New Zealand, the sport of rugby is often considered sacred to most, if not all, Kiwis out there. They simply can't get enough of it. The New Zealand All Blacks usually gather the biggest squadron of mates and swarm anybody who dares try to be an obstacle in their games. They've won a total of 3 world championships in 1987, 2011, and 2015, but have been falling behind as of late. It looks like the All Blacks have been taking loss after loss, crashing and burning out of tournaments.
I'm about to lose everything!
All those 4 million fans and Kiwis can't seem to catch a break in the last few months. Since the World Cup is being held in New Zealand this year, the international team might have a chance to come back from their rut. But it's understandable that they have a lot of pressure riding on their performance and success, since the motherland has been taking hits from natural disasters like the Christchurch earthquake, resulting in 185 fatalities and huge damage to the city, and the Canterbury floods, which caused significant damage and disruption in Canterbury. Number 13. 1999 World Cup drama. One of the most dramatic moments in cricket during the 1999 Cricket World Cup semi-final between South Africa and Australia, South Africa needed 9 runs off the last over to win the match and progress to the final. Lance Klusener was on strike and hitting the ball well, while Alan Donald was at the other end. Klusener hit the first 2 balls of the over for 4. Putting South Africa in an advantageous position. However, on the 3rd ball, Klusener hit the ball straight to Darren Lehman at mid-off and ran with everything he had. Donald, slow to react, only started running when Klusener was almost at his end. The Australian fielders quickly retrieved the ball and threw it to the bowler, who ran towards the stumps and completed the runout. The match ended in a tie, which meant that Australia advanced to the final due to a higher net run rate in the group stages. South Africa was left devastated, having come so close to reaching the finals. Number 12. Kawhi Leonard. During the 2017 NBA playoffs, the Golden State Warriors faced off against the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. The Spurs were leading by 23 points in Game 1 when one of their star players, Kawhi Leonard, landed awkwardly on his ankle after attempting a jump shot. Leonard had been the leading scorer for the Spurs that season, and his injury was a huge blow to the team's chances of winning the series. Replays showed that Warriors center Zaza Pachulia had intentionally slid his foot under Leonard's as he landed, causing the injury. This sparked controversy and accusations that Pachulia had intentionally tried to injure Leonard. Pachulia defended himself, saying that he was simply trying to contest the shot and had not intended to harm Leonard. However, many basketball fans and analysts disagreed, and believed that Pachulia's actions were deliberate. Leonard was forced to sit out the remainder of the playoffs, and the Spurs went on to lose the series in 4 games. Pachulia's actions were heavily criticized, and he faced backlash from fans and media alike.
It was intentional.
Even Greg Popovich made a comment about the whole debacle.
It's not appropriate. It's dangerous. It's unsportsmanlike. It's just not what anybody does to anybody else. And this particular individual has a history with that kind of action.
When a 3-time NBA Coach of the Year criticizes your sportsmanlike conduct or lack thereof, there must be something going on. Number 11, Jose Canseco. In a 1993 Major League Baseball game, Jose Canseco, a star player for the Texas Rangers, provided fans with one of the most bizarre and hilarious moments in baseball history. During the game, Canseco was playing in left field. Carlos Martinez hit a fly ball towards him that looked like it would be a routine catch. However, Canseco completely miscalculated where the ball would land, and it ended up hitting him right on the top of his head. The ball then bounced off his head and over the fence, resulting in a home run for the opposing team. Canseco, stunned and confused, tried to argue with the umpires that it was not a home run, but it was clear from the replay that the ball did indeed clear the fence.
That must have hurt.
Canseco himself later admitted that it was one of the most embarrassing moments of his career. Despite his many accomplishments on the field, including multiple All-Star selections and 2 American League MVP awards, the image of him getting hit on the head with a fly ball remains a lasting memory for many fans. Number 10, Ronaldo Bachmann. A former NBA player had an on-court meltdown during a Philippine Basketball Association game in 2013. Bachmann, who was playing for the Patron Blaze Boosters, got into an altercation with one of his teammates after he felt he was fouled and no call was made by the referees. Bachmann proceeded to argue with the referees, but his teammates tried to calm him down. However, he then grabbed the throat of one of his teammates, Arwind Santos, and pushed him away.
That's crazy!
He also pushed other teammates and coaches who tried to intervene. The incident quickly escalated and resulted in Bachmann taking off his own team's jersey and throwing it on the court. He also knocked over chairs and even shoved a referee before he was restrained by security and ejected from the game. He was subsequently suspended by the PBA and fined heavily for his actions. Bachmann later issued a public apology for his behavior, but imagine getting choked out trying to calm down your teammate. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Number 9, Indomitable Sue. Indomitable Sue, a former defensive tackle in the NFL, gained a reputation for his on-field antics during his career. In 2011, he was suspended for 2 games after stomping on the arm of Green Bay Packers lineman Evan Dietrich Smith. The incident occurred during a Thanksgiving Day game, and Sue was widely criticized for his behavior. In 2012, Sue was fined $30,000 for kicking Houston Texans quarterback Matt Schaub in the groin during a game as the incident was caught on camera. These incidents were not isolated. Sue had a history of aggressive behavior on the field, engaging in unsportsmanlike conduct with opponents. He was frequently fined by the NFL for his actions. Despite his talent as a player, his actions often overshadowed his performance, and he became known more for his aggressive behavior than his abilities on the field. Number 8, Babe Ruth. The Boston Red Sox selling Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees in 1919 is considered one of the most infamous or famous trades in sports history, depending on who you ask. At the time, Ruth was a promising young pitcher for the Red Sox, But the team's owner, Harry Frazee, was struggling financially and needed to raise money. So he sold Ruth to the Yankees for $125,000, which was a record-breaking amount at the time. The trade was a disaster for the Red Sox, as Ruth went on to become one of the greatest players in baseball history and helped the Yankees win 4 World Series titles. Meanwhile, the Red Sox went 86 years without winning a World Series.
It's a drought everywhere!
A drought that became known as the Bambino Curse. In recent years, the Red Sox and Yankees have patched up their relationship, but the sale of Ruth remains a painful memory for many Red Sox fans. Number 7. Herschel Walker. The Herschel Walker trade is considered one of the most significant trades in NFL history. In 1989, the Dallas Cowboys made a bold move by trading their star running back Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for 5 players and 8 draft picks. Many were surprised by the trade at the time, as Walker was one of the best players in the league and had been a key part of the Cowboys' offense. However, the team's owner, Jerry Jones, believed that the trade would help the team rebuild and become more competitive in the long run. The trade ended up being a huge success for the Cowboys, as they used the draft picks to build a championship team in the early 1990s. They used the first-round pick they received from the Vikings to draft Emmitt Smith, who would go on to become one of the greatest running backs in NFL history and a key part of the Cowboys' 3 Super Bowl championships in the 1990s. Meanwhile, the Vikings struggled to make use of Walker and failed to make it to the Super Bowl during his time with the team.
Not a very smart move.
The trade is still remembered as a turning point in both teams' histories. Number 6. DeSean Jackson. In a game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in 2008, DeSean Jackson found himself on the verge of scoring a touchdown that would have won the game for his team. With only a few seconds left on the clock and the Eagles trailing by 4 points, Jackson received a punt and began sprinting towards the end zone. As he crossed the 20-yard line, he slowed down and began showboating, holding the ball out in front of him with one hand. As he approached the goal line, Cowboys defender Orlando Scandrick caught up to him and began to strip the ball away. Jackson, still trying to show off, lost control of the ball and it rolled out of his hand and through the end zone. The play was ruled a touchback and the Cowboys won the game, leaving Jackson and his teammates stunned. The mistake was a costly one for the Eagles, as a touchdown would have given them the win and kept their playoff hopes alive. Instead, they fell to 4-9 on the season and were eliminated from postseason contention. For Jackson, it was a moment of instant regret, as he realized too late that he had let his team down by trying to show off instead of focusing on the task at hand.
That's just stupid.
Subscriber pick. Alrighty, it's time for our subscriber pick. Before we continue to talk about more instant regret moments, we're splashing you with this teaser. Can you guess what's going on here? I wonder who's who, and if that guy ever brushed his teeth. It looks like this man in black is about to lose his temper. What would happen next? With that out of the way, let's move on to the next one. Number 5. Tim Tebow. During the 2011 NFL season, the Denver Broncos found themselves in a difficult position. They were struggling on offense, and their starting quarterback, Kyle Orton, wasn't producing results. In desperation, the Broncos turned to backup quarterback Tim Tebow, a former Heisman Trophy winner who had seen limited playing time in the NFL up to that point. Tebow's unorthodox style of play, which relied heavily on his ability to run the ball, proved to be effective, and he led the Broncos to a string of victories. His success on the field, coupled with his devout Christian faith and wholesome image,
how much Jesus loves us.
made him a media darling and a fan favorite. However, despite his success, Tebow's style of play wasn't sustainable in the long term, and the Broncos' success was short-lived. They were ultimately eliminated in the playoffs by the New England Patriots, and Tebow was traded to the New York Jets the following season. The decision to start Tebow, while initially successful, ultimately backfired for the Broncos, and they were forced to go back to the drawing board in their search for a long-term solution at quarterback. Number 4. The butt fumble. During a 2012 NFL game between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots, quarterback Mark Sanchez had an infamous moment that has since become known as the butt fumble. In the second quarter of the game, Sanchez was attempting to scramble out of the pocket when he collided with one of his own offensive linemen, causing him to lose the ball. In an attempt to recover it, Sanchez lunged forward, but ended up colliding with the backside of his own lineman, causing the ball to pop out and allowing the Patriots to recover it for a touchdown. The play became an instant viral sensation and was widely mocked by fans and commentators alike.
Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable, Bob. You got a broken play, then you run into the backside of your right guard.
Despite the notoriety of the play, Sanchez went on to have a successful NFL career, playing for multiple teams over the course of a decade. However, the butt fumble remains one of the most memorable moments of his career and is likely to be remembered as one of the most embarrassing moments in NFL history.
This is so embarrassing.
Number 3. Luis Suarez. In a highly controversial moment during the 2014 FIFA World Cup, Uruguayan forward Luis Suarez bit Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini during a crucial group stage match. The incident occurred in the 80th minute of the game, with the score tied at 0-0. Replays clearly showed Suarez biting Chiellini on the shoulder, but the referee did not see the incident and no action was taken at the time. However, after reviewing the footage, FIFA's disciplinary committee banned Suarez for 9 international matches, as well as from all football-related activity for 4 months.
Such behavior cannot be tolerated on any football pitch.
This was not the first time Suarez had been caught biting an opponent, having previously done so while playing for Ajax and Liverpool.
Is a vampire.
The incident received widespread media coverage and led to much criticism of Suarez, both for his actions on the field and his previous history of controversial behavior. Number 2. Eden Hazard. In January 2013, during a League Cup semi-final match between Swansea City and Chelsea, Eden Hazard had an instant regret moment that sparked controversy. The incident took place in the second leg of the semi-finals, when Chelsea needed a goal to tie the aggregate and take the game to extra time. With just 10 minutes remaining, the ball went out of play and a ball boy, who was the son of a Swansea City director, appeared to hold onto the ball to waste time. Frustrated, Hazard ran over to the ball boy and appeared to try to kick the ball from underneath him. However, in the process, he made contact with the boy, who fell to the ground in pain. Hazard was immediately shown a red card by the referee and sent off. The incident caused a media frenzy, and Hazard was widely criticized for his actions. He later apologized for his behavior, stating that he had not intended to harm the ball boy and that he deeply regretted his actions. The ball boy was also criticized for his behavior and was subsequently charged with time wasting. Number 1. Jeremy Lamb. In an NBA game between the Toronto Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets on March 24, 2019, the Raptors led 114-112 with just 3.4 seconds left on the clock. The Raptors players and fans thought that they had the game in the bag, and they started celebrating too early. However, the Hornets' Jeremy Lamb had other ideas. He received the ball near half court, With only a second left on the clock, Lamb launched a long shot from beyond the arc, and it went in. The crowd went wild as Lamb's teammates rushed to congratulate him. The Raptors' celebration turned into disbelief as they realized that they had lost the game. The shot by Lamb was later reviewed and confirmed as a game winner. It was an incredible moment that demonstrated the importance of never giving up until the final whistle. Lamb's game-winning shot was one of the most memorable moments in the NBA that season. It was a reminder to players and fans alike that anything can happen in sports, and it's never over until it's over. The Raptors learned a valuable lesson that night: never celebrate too early. And there you have it, folks. Those were 15 instant regret moments in sports. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one.